A Planned Parenthood clinic in Pullman, Washington was set on fire last week in an arson attack. So the CEO of Planned Parenthood in Washington said the following, quote, "This is an appalling act of violence towards Planned Parenthood, but unfortunately a predictable ripple effect from the false and incendiary attacks that fuel violence from extremists." Raw Story says, officials said alarms inside the building were tripped before the fire was reported around 3:30 a.m. on Friday morning. The facility will need to be closed for several weeks because of extensive fire and smoke damage. So are you ready for this? This particular Planned Parenthood didn't even do abortions. You know what this reminds me of? This story reminds me of all those different cases of idiot far-right wingers trying to do anti-Muslim terrorism, and they end up doing anti-Sikh terrorism because they don't know the fucking difference. Like, well, he got darker skin and it's some other kind of religion and ethnicity, kill him. Like the fucking mass shooter who went to the Sikh temple who thought it was Muslims. Now, obviously, it doesn't matter who you're doing it against. It's wrong. It's wrong if you do it against Muslims. It's wrong if you do it against Sikhs. It's wrong if you do it against anybody, okay? But they're so stupid they can't even get their hate right. So they go and they do this firebombing of Planned Parenthood thinking like, oh yeah, we're going to get those abortionists. Meanwhile, the guys are like, we don't have abortion at this Planned Parenthood. Fucking clowns, man. They're so stupid. They're so fucking stupid. Now, there's another aspect to this story that pisses me off, which is you don't see much about this, man. Like, maybe it gets a quick mention on mainstream media networks, some outlets online that usually do a good job or, you know, ran with the articles and whatnot. But this story isn't nearly as big as it would be if the facts were exactly the same, but let's say instead of an abortion clinic, or this isn't even an abortion clinic, instead of a Planned Parenthood clinic, it was a military recruiting office, and it was arson done by a Muslim. Could you imagine how big that story would be? It would be huge. Now, there were no fatalities in this, so saying, even if you keep that the case, no fatalities, but a Muslim attacks, you know, a military recruitment center, and just, you know, lights a fire, throws a bomb, whatever. I think that would be much bigger news, but when it's homegrown terror, when it's our own terror, then, you know, people are like, well, I mean, God, they did have that creepy video that came out recently, which shows Planned Parenthood is bad, right? Right? See, that's what annoys me, man. They think they're being more moral than everybody else. They think this was the right thing to do. Isn't that incredible? Meanwhile, fact-checking organizations ripped those Planned Parenthood sting videos to shreds. You want to know why? What was the main claim in those videos? Planned Parenthood is selling baby parts for profit. That was the main claim. What was the reality? Planned Parenthood was not selling anything, donating fetal tissue for medical research, and the costs they were discussing in the different videos were transportation costs, because apparently it's not cheap to send fetal tissue to a lab and preserve it properly in order to do research to try to cure diseases. So if there's any crime that happened there, it was when this hack right-wing group pretended to be interested in medical research, when in reality they were just trying to bring down an organization doing the right thing. And by the way, I know facts are stubborn things and conservatives don't believe in them, but 97% of Planned Parenthood funding does not go towards abortion. 97% is contraception, breast exams, women's health issues, and stuff like that. All stuff, by the way, that prevents unwanted pregnancies. And the 3% that they do that is abortion, that's paid out of pocket by the people who get the abortion. Because the Hyde Amendment is something that's been added to multiple bills for years now, which says the federal government cannot fund any abortions. So that's already the law. All these idiot right-wingers who oh my God, defund it because federal tax dollars are going to abortion. That's not true. That hasn't been the case for a very long time now. So they already have the policy that they're fighting for, but because they're such fucking zealots and they're so extreme, look at what happens. People do terrorism because of their nonsense videos and their nonsense propaganda.